I started working the night shift at a small warehouse on the outskirts of town about 6 months ago. It was one of those places that handled overflow storage for online retailers. Boxes of clothes, electronics, random junk that people order at 2 a.m. The pay was decent, and honestly, I liked the quiet. No micromanaging bosses, just me, a forklift, and the hum of fluorescent lights. The building was massive, with rows of shelves stretching into the darkness, and only one security camera at the loading dock that barely worked half the time. My routine was simple: clock in at 10 p.m., check incoming shipments, sort them onto shelves, and handle any late-night pickups. The place was isolated, surrounded by empty fields, and the nearest neighbor was a gas station 5 miles down the road. Most nights, it was dead silent, except for the occasional truck rumbling in. But one Tuesday in late fall, things started feeling off. Around midnight, I got a notification on the system for an unscheduled delivery. No details, just incoming package, urgent. That was weird, because all shipments were logged days in advance. I radioed the main office, but no one picked up. They were long gone for the day. Figuring it was a glitch, I ignored it and kept stacking boxes. Then, about 20 minutes later, I heard the loading dock door rattle. Not the big roll-up one, but the side entrance for foot traffic. It was locked, always was after hours. I grabbed my flashlight and walked over, shining it through the small window. Nothing. No truck, no person, just the empty parking lot under the moon. I shrugged it off as wind, but as I turned back, the system beeped again. Delivery arrived. Sign for receipt. My heart skipped a bit. How? I checked the camera feed. Static, as usual. I decided to open the door just to be sure. The cold air hit me, and there it was, a single cardboard box, about the size of a microwave, sitting right on the threshold. No labels, no shipping info, just taped shut. I dragged it inside, locked up, and set it on the intake table. Curiosity got the better of me, so I slit the tape with my box cutter. Inside was bubble wrap, and under that, a stack of papers. Not inventory. Personal stuff. Photos of me. One from my apartment window, taken from across the street. Another of me at the grocery store last week. And a note. I know your schedule. I'll be back for what's mine. My blood ran cold. What the hell? I called the cops, but they took forever to arrive. Said it was probably a prank. While waiting, I heard footsteps echoing in the aisles. Slow, deliberate, like someone browsing. I yelled out, "Who's there?" No answer. I grabbed a crowbar from the tool rack and crept through the shelves, flashlight beam shaking. Rows of boxes cast long shadows, and every creak of the building made me jump. At the end of aisle 7, I found footprints in the dust. Fresh ones, leading to a ventilation grate that was pried open. The police finally showed up, searched the place, but found no one. They took the box as evidence, dusted for prints. Turns out the photos were printed on paper from a local copy shop, and the note had my full name and address smudged in the corner. They never caught the guy, but I quit that week. Now, every time I hear a door rattle at night, I wonder if he's still delivering. I've been pulling night shifts at a 24-hour diner off the interstate for 3 years now. It's the kind of place truckers stop at for coffee and pie, with neon signs flickering in the rain and booths that haven't been updated since the 80s. I work alone from midnight to 6 a.m. Just me handling the counter, the grill, and the occasional drunk wandering in. The isolation never bothered me much. I had a panic button under the register and a baseball bat in the back. One rainy Thursday, around 2 a.m., a guy came in. Average build, hoodie pulled low, ordered black coffee, and sat in the corner booth facing the window. He didn't say much, just stared out at the highway. I served him, made small talk about the weather, but he kept glancing at me oddly. When he paid, he left a tip with a napkin scribbled on. Nice tattoo. I have a small rose on my wrist, but my sleeves were down. How did he know? I brushed it off, but he came back the next night. Same booth, same order. This time, he asked, "How's your dog, Max?" He doing okay after the vet visit. My stomach dropped. Max is my lab, and yeah, he'd been to the vet 2 days prior for a checkup. I hadn't told anyone at work. I forced a smile, said fine, and retreated to the kitchen. From there, I watched him through the serving window. He wasn't eating or drinking, just watching the door. Then me. Over the next few shifts, it escalated. He'd drop details. My sister's name, the car I drove, even the book I was reading on break. I'd left it in my car. One night, he left before I could confront him, but slipped a photo under his plate, a Polaroid of my house, taken from the bushes. The back read, "I wait for you every night." I called the police that shift. They patrolled the lot, but he was gone. The final night, the diner was empty, except for the hum of the fridge. I heard the bell jingle, looked up, and there he was, smiling. "I know you're alone," he said, pulling out a notebook filled with times, dates, my entire routine. I hit the panic button, locked myself in the office. Cops arrived, arrested him. Turns out he was a former regular who'd been fired from a job nearby, obsessed after overhearing me on the phone once. He had binoculars, maps of my route home. I still check my mirrors every drive, wondering if anyone else is watching. Night stalking at a big box supermarket sounded easy when I took the job. Unload trucks, fill shelves, blast music on my headphones till dawn. The store closed at 11 p.m., leaving me and one other guy to handle the overnight. Lights dimmed to half, aisles like endless corridors, and the only sounds were carts rolling and boxes ripping open. It was peaceful, until the echoes started. First time, around 1 a.m., I was in the frozen foods section restocking pizzas. I heard footsteps behind me, light, like sneakers on tile. I turned, nothing. Assumed it was my coworker Mike, but he was in electronics across the store. I radioed him, "You messing with me?" He laughed, said no. Happened again in produce, then housewares. Always just out of sight. Next shift, it got weirder. I found items moved. Cans stacked in pyramids on the floor, toys arranged in circles. Mike swore it wasn't him. We checked the security feeds together. Grainy footage showed a shadow flitting between aisles, too quick to make out. That night, as I was in the back stockroom, the overhead speaker crackled to life. Store was closed. No one at the desk. It played my name, whispered, "Come find me." Panic set in. I grabbed a mic, and we searched every corner. Under shelves, in bathrooms, even the ceiling vents. Nothing. But in the employee break room, we found a nest, blankets, food wrappers, an old backpack. Someone had been living in the store, slipping through during closing. The final straw was when I felt breath on my neck in the dark pharmacy aisle. I swung my flashlight, caught a glimpse of a pale face grinning before it darted away. Police came and searched the place deeply. At first, they didn't find anyone, but when they were about to leave, they heard something. We followed the sound along with the cops and found the guy hiding in the attic crawlspace. Homeless, but not harmless. He had a knife and clippings of employee schedules. Said he liked watching us work. The store installed better locks, but I quit. Now, shopping during the day, I still hear echoes in empty aisles. Working nights as a nurse in a rural hospital was supposed to be low-key monitor a few patients, chart vitals, catch up on paperwork. The ward was small, 20 beds, mostly elderly folks recovering from surgeries. Lights low, beeps from machines, the occasional cough. I was often solo from 2 a.m. onward, with the doctor on call downstairs. One winter night, I did my rounds at 3 a.m. Room 12 was empty, per the charts. Patient discharged that afternoon. But as I passed, the call light flickered on. Glitch, I thought, resetting it. 5 minutes later, it buzzed again. I went in, bed made, no one there. Then I heard a wheeze, like labored breathing from under the sheets. Pulled them back. Empty. Shaken, I checked the logs, no admissions. But during my next round, the door to 12 was ajar. Inside, monitors beeping faintly, 4 stand knocked over. I radioed security, but he was on break. Alone, I searched the room. Closet empty, bathroom clear. As I turned to leave, a hand grabbed my ankle from under the bed. Cold, bony fingers. I screamed, yanked away, and ran to the nurse's station. Security finally arrived, dragged out a man in scrubs, stolen from laundry. He wasn't a patient. He'd snuck in through a service door, hiding for hours. Had a syringe in his pocket, empty. Police said he was a drifter with a history of hospital intrusions, playing doctor. What scared me most, he'd been charting fake vitals on a notepad, including my name as next patient. I transferred shifts after that. Nights in hospitals? Never again.